And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 61 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And it's on its way down to 45 degrees, which means, you know what? I think summer's gone. Yeah, it was cold, chilly outside. I went for my everyday walk, and I want to tell you, I had to wear a sweatshirt today as opposed to a workout shirt. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what's going on. Well, on today's show, we're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then, of course, we're going to continue our segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And then a little bit later on, our own Sean LaFave is going to be here. We're going to be talking about health care on this segment of Geared for Wellness. Actually, we're going to talk about garbage in the ocean and on Midway and what a catastrophic event that really is. But first off, we're going to talk to you about what's in the news. We've encapsulated the top 10 things that are there, and then we'll talk a little bit more in depth after we give you an idea of what's going on for the 10 things to know for Tuesday. This is your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow as well. And right up at the top is Oakland warehouse fire death toll hits 36. The Alameda County Sheriff says he doesn't believe more bodies would be found, but it can't be known for sure until the recovery effort is complete. And what's next for Dakota Access Pipeline? Well, the Army declined to issue a permit needed to cross under the Missouri River Reservoir in North Dakota and calls for additional review, which could take as long as a year. And a judge declares a mistrial in the fatal police shooting of South Carolina man. Former police officer Michael Slager had been charged with the murder of Walter Scott, who fled after a traffic stop. You know what? The interesting thing here is, God, we've all seen that video. He was running away, his back to the guy, and he got shot in the back 8 times. And the jury's having a problem with this? I don't get it. Well, why Ben Carson is drawing criticism as Trump HUD nominee. The retired neurosurgeon has no background in government or running a bureaucracy like the Department of Housing and Urban Development. You know what the surprise is? You know, both him and Trump said that was a department that probably should be abolished. Maybe that's the reason he's putting him in. Well, a rebel shelling kills 2 Russian nurses and 8 civilians in Syria's Aleppo. The shelling was part of the most intense fighting in days, with Syrian government forces pounding rebel-held parts of the city for hours. And a setback for Bill Cosby in a criminal sex assault trial. A judge says that prosecutors can use testimony that Cosby gave in an accuser's lawsuit, including the admission that he gave women drugs and alcohol before sex. And that thing just seems to be going on forever and ever and ever. I think they're just waiting. Crosby's not a healthy guy. They're probably just waiting for him to kick the bucket before they finish this thing off. Anyway, fake news story led a gunman to fire a rifle inside a D.C. pizzeria. Police say the man was trying to self-investigate a false story that claimed a Democrat-led child sex trafficking ring was operating out of the restaurant. And house in Austrian town where a daughter was kept prisoner has been sold. The buyer of the house, where Josef Fritzl held his daughter as a sex slave and forced her to father his children, will be turned into apartments. It nauseates me just to even read that thing. How about this? How leading auction house is trying to fight an art fraud. Well, Sotheby's has purchased a forensic testing firm to help make sure that art that they deal with is authentic. Good idea, huh? And then finally, the Heisman Trophy finalists are announced. Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson is a finalist for the second season in a row, joined by Louisville's Lamar Jackson, Michigan's Jabril Peppers, and Oklahoma's Baker Mayfield. And D.A. Westbrook. Yeah, well, that's the encapsulated news. Let's see if we can't get to some more in-depth stuff here so that we can tell you what's going on. And right off the top, well, Trump injects himself in an Air Force One business deal. Yep, heard me right. President-elect Donald Trump, a political newcomer who touts his corporate skills, turned businessman in chief today, first demanding that the government cancel a multi-billion-dollar order for new presidential planes, and then hailing a Japanese company's commitment to invest billions in the United States. 6 weeks before taking office, Trump is telegraphing that he'll take an interventionist role in the nation's economy, as well as play showman when he sees a chance. The celebrity businessman's declaration about Air Force One caused manufacturer Boeing stock to drop temporarily and raised fresh questions about how his administration, not to mention his Twitter volleys, could affect the economy. Well, the plane's totally out of control, Trump said. Reporters in the lobby of Trump Tower, I think Boeing is doing a little bit of a number. We want Boeing to make a lot of money, but not that much money. Earlier, he had tweeted that the deal's costs were out of control, more than $4 billion. He says, cancel the order. You know what? Not long after his first appearance, Trump returned to the lobby with Masayoshi Son, the CEO of SoftBank, a massive telecommunications company that counts Sprint among its holdings. Trump pointed proudly to Son's commitment to invest $50 billion in the United States, which Trump said could create 50,000 jobs. Trump, who also tweeted the deal, shook Son's hand and posed for photos, reveling as he had last week when he toured a courier plant in Indiana, where he said he had investigated or instigated an agreement that will preserve about 1,000 jobs. An appliance maker had planned to move to Mexico. Well, as for Air Force One, the government has contracted with Boeing to build 2 new planes, which would go into service around 2024. That means Trump might never even fly on the aircraft, which carry U.S. presidents around the globe. The Air Force has pressed for a faster schedule, saying that the aging current Boeing 747s are becoming too expensive to repair and keep in good flying shape. The contract for developing and building new planes was to be about $3 billion, but costs have been reported to be rising. The General Accountability Office estimated in March that about $2 billion of the deal for work between 2010 and 2020 was for research and development, not the actual planes. The inflated $4 billion figure Trump cited appears to include operation and maintenance as well. Trump began his onslaught against Boeing at 8:52 a.m., tweeting Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control. More than $4 billion? Cancel the order. Well, the tweet came 22 minutes after the Chicago Tribune posted a story in which the Boeing CEO voiced concerns about Trump's view on trade. Well, I would certainly guess so. But God, I hope this is an indication that somebody's finally going to start looking at government spending. Isn't that about the time for that? It sure is. Now listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about critics' worry after Trump's security chief fuels conspiracies. I'm going to tell you all about that after these brief messages. Don't go away. We've got a lot of fantastic show for you today.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where we're talking news. You know what? Critics are worried after Trump security chief fuels conspiracies on issues of national security and intelligence. No one is likely to have more influence on Donald Trump's White House than retired General Michael T. Flynn. Yet Flynn, Trump's incoming national security advisor, has gained prominence in Republican politics by fueling conspiracy theories and Islamophobic rhetoric that critics warn could create serious distractions or alienate allies and embolden enemies if it continues. His job is to ensure that the White House is focused on all times on all the threats that the United States faces abroad, said Julianne Smith, a former deputy national security advisor to Vice President Joe Biden. She said she was deeply troubled by the Flynn tendency to promote fake news stories on his Twitter feed. You don't want to have a distracted national security advisor, said Smith, who now directs the strategy and statecraft program at the Center for the New American Security. She was among several national security experts who raised concerns today about Flynn's willingness to share bad intelligence on a social media feed as he prepares to move to the West Wing. Wow. You know what? Nobody has anything good to say about anybody these days. I guess that's kind of what's going on. Well, you know what? Let's talk about this for a minute. You know, the mistrial in South Carolina police shooting mystifies observers. I don't know if you've been following this or not, but the video was just unambiguous. A white police officer fatally shot an unarmed black man in the back as the man ran away. 8 times, by the way. But a South Carolina jury was unable to agree on a verdict in one of the nation's ghastliest police shootings, with a lone holdout forcing a mistrial. The outcome stung many African Americans and others. If that kind of evidence can't produce a conviction, they asked, what can? There's a jury full of people, and they cannot decide if it's illegal to shoot someone who is running away from you, said activist Jonetta Elsey, who is black. What do you say about a country that feels this way about black people? If you can't see the humanity in that, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Well, prosecutors plan to retry Officer Michael Slager, who is scheduled to be tried separately next year on federal charges that he violated Walter Scott's civil rights. North Charleston city officials approved a $6.5 million civil settlement for Scott's family earlier this year. Slager remains free on bail. Man, can you imagine? I don't even know what to say. Somebody got picked as a juror, and they just muddied up the whole doggone thing. Yeah. Well, you know what? Did authorities miss opportunities to prevent a tragic fire, do you think? You know what? City and state officials fielded years of complaints about dangerous conditions, drugs, neglected children, trash, thefts, and squabbles at the illegally converted warehouse where 36 partygoers were killed in a weekend fire, with inspectors knocking on the door as recently as 2 weeks before the blaze. With all the attention from police, child welfare authorities, building inspectors, and others, some of those who saw what was going on at the underground artist colony say that they figured time and again that authorities would shut it all down. But they never did. It makes me so sad that all this has been there this whole long time, said neighbor Phyllis Wakazoo. This was an accident waiting to happen. That could happen or could have happened. It could have been prevented, for Pete's sake. Mayor Libby Schaff deflected questions about whether more aggressive action by authorities could have prevented the tragedy at the building known as the Ghost Ship. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and prosecutors said they are looking into the possibility of criminal charges. Man, I guess, gee, many Christmas. Criminal charges. Well, I still don't understand why authorities didn't shut that place down. It just doesn't make any sense. Well, how about this? Obama says that his strategy is breaking the back of extremists. You know, President Barack Obama says that the fight that he's led against the Islamic State group has been relentless, sustainable, and multilateral. He says it demonstrates a shift in how the United States takes on terrorists around the world. Obama is speaking at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, home to U.S. Special Operations Command and U.S. Central Command. It's Obama's last major national security speech before leaving office. Obama is defending a counterterrorism strategy that has relied on U.S. special forces and local groups rather than large-scale U.S. ground forces. He says the U.S. built a network of partners to help fight extremists. Obama says the U.S. is breaking the back of IS. Obama notes that he is poised to become the first president to serve 2 full terms at war. Well, I don't know that that's something I'd want to necessarily brag about. Would you? No, I don't think so. You know what? Syria says that it seized nearly 75% of eastern Aleppo. Syrian government forces and allied militias captured Aleppo's centrally located Al-Shar neighborhood from rebels this morning, securing nearly 3/4 of the besieged enclave less than 2 weeks after launching a ground offensive, according to the Syrian military. The Syrian government and its ally, Russia, meanwhile rejected a ceasefire for the war-torn city, keeping up the military offensive amid rebel retreats and massive displacement. Rebels withdrew from the Al-Shar under heavy bombardment by pro-government forces to the Marjeh and Maadi neighborhoods near media activist Mohammed Razin told the Associated Press several gunmen were actually killed. Well, that does it for the news. When we come back, we're going to talk about something more pleasant. The IRS loses. That'll put a smile on your face, or at least it should put a smile on your face. I'm thinking it will in any event. So, you know what? When we come back, the first case is going to be a split decision. A husband is responsible for the family business taxes, but his wife isn't. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live. Here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's 3:23 p.m. Pacific time, currently 58 degrees here, on its way down to 45 degrees in Southern California. And if you happen to be listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, you know what? It's 48 degrees and it's overcast, and Chicago's also 48 degrees and overcast. But right now, I want to talk to you about something that's going to put a smile on your face and it's going to make your day. We're going to talk about the IRS Loses. And the first case that's up today is a split situation with the IRS. A husband is responsible for a family's business taxes, but his wife isn't. Let me tell you about it. Jack Boyoyan, or I guess it's Boyoyan, was owner and president of Far Hills Community Management Incorporated, a community associations management company, and his wife, Linda, was an employee. Now, when Far Hills failed to remit taxes withheld for employees' pay, the IRS held that Jack and Linda, they were personally liable for more than $200,000. He as CEO and she as the firm's accountant. They went to court, is what the judge said. Jack's defense that he didn't know of the employment or the non-payment of the tax just wasn't credible, and even if true, not effective, since it was his responsibility to know. But Linda credibly testified that she dealt primarily with clients and didn't have control over the checkbook or deciding which creditors got paid. So she escapes that responsibility. Separated from there. We'll see what the future holds for that relationship. How about this? The IRS loses. they cannot avoid answering questions. Here's the deal. A company filed a refund suit against the Internal Revenue Service. Now, during the suit, it filed questions for the IRS to answer. The IRS answered them all by saying that its attorneys lacked sufficient knowledge about them to give an answer. The company protested, went to court, does what the judge said. The issue wasn't whether the IRS's attorneys knew the answer to the questions. That was ridiculous. It was about whether the IRS itself knew the answers. Now, dodging the questions by saying that the attorneys didn't know the answers violated court rules and was non-responsive. So, the non-answer answers are struck. The company is allowed to ask a new set of questions in excess of what the court rules normally would have allowed, and the IRS is ordered to answer them all. Now, aren't you smiling? I'm smiling. I think you should be smiling too. How about this? The IRS concedes. Here's the deal. You know that they only concede when they're pretty sure they can't prevail in court. That's what the case is here too. An airline ticket tax does not apply to the ticket provider's fee. So here's the deal. A business sells airline tickets to travelers, then it buys them from airlines in arm's length transactions, charges their cost to the travelers, and adds on its own fee. Well, here's the issue. Who's going to be responsible for the airline ticket tax, which is a percentage of the ticket price and does not apply to the business's fee? Well, the IRS ruling, the business is independent, not an agent for any airline. It does not provide transportation, but only facilitates the purchase of the taxable transportation. So, the tax is owed by the traveler and is to be collected and remitted by the airline, not the agency, on the cost of the ticket alone, not on the agency's fees. Now, you know what? Just makes common sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with the segment that we call Inside the IRS, very much like Twilight Zone. Okay, so these are not tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS is doing and things that they've said and things that they're preparing for that if you know about it can actually help you in your own situation, just having that knowledge. Knowledge is probably the most valuable commodity that I can think of today. And here's the first thing is, watch your back when the IRS tells you that it's got a good deal for you. Yeah. You know what? The good deal comes in the form of a letter that advises you to accept the terms of a global settlement that the IRS is offering the taxpayers who were involved in a common issue. Now, here's an example. Thousands of taxpayers are found to have maintained offshore bank accounts. We've talked about this before. They reported neither the money deposited into the accounts nor the interest earned on them. Now, the IRS offered many of those taxpayers the last chance to avoid huge penalties if they disclosed their wrongdoing. The strategy? If the IRS tries to entice you into a global settlement, speak to a knowledgeable tax attorney who understands the IRS's limitations before deciding whether to accept. It is important to find out exactly, what the facts and the evidence are in the possession of the IRS to determine whether it can even prove its case against you. So that's what you want to really, really be careful about. And how about this? The IRS has got a new audit trap out. Suppose that in the course of an audit, an agent asks you a question and you just don't understand why that question is being asked. What do? Well, ask the agent why he or she wants to know. Don't answer any such question until you receive an understandable and acceptable answer from the agent. Now, here's an example for you. Let's just say that the agent asks where you went on vacation last year. Seems innocent enough, doesn't it? Why should he really want to know that kind of a thing? Well, he's probably trying to ascertain your standard of living and how the amount of income that you reported on your tax return jibes with your confessed lifestyle. Be careful about offering the answer that may be incriminating. So, consult with your own lawyer. Make sure that you're not being a fool and representing yourself here. And then finally, how about negotiating an installment agreement? You know what? It's not uncommon for certain taxpayers earning six-figure salaries to owe the IRS more money than they'll ever be able to repay. You know, common causes for this are personal liability for unpaid payroll taxes of a business, years of not filing income tax returns, not paying the tax reflected on tax returns when they were filed, and when taxpayers enter negotiations to pay their tax debt in installments, the IRS is generally going to allow them living expenses in excess of official guidelines, which are actually very, very modest, and they'll do that for about a year. Now, taxpayers should use this time, this whole year, to cut back on all but the most essential expenses. Now, they should cut out lavish expenses for such things as vacations, clothing, country club dues, and concentrate on making sure that college tuition and mortgage payments are made, even prepaid. The reason for this? After that 1 year period expires, the IRS is going to expect that most of what you earn as a taxpayer after the current year's income taxes have been paid goes to the IRS. They're not going to cut you much slack with that. So, you know what? That's what's going on. Now, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. You know, I got up this morning. I was thinking, you know what? I don't really want to do this show. I think I'll do an archive show. I'm going to take the day off. And then I started thinking, wait a minute. Today's Tuesday. Today we have Sean LaFave and his Geared for Wellness Corner on. I can't pass that up. So you know what? Instead of that, you're going to have a live show today, just like we always do, Monday through Friday. And you're going to be with our own Sean LaFave, and we're going to be talking about garbage. Yep, garbage in Midway, garbage in the Pacific Ocean, garbage all over the world. Don't go away. Sean has garbage on his mind, and we're going to let him talk to you about it.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:35 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 58 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 45 degrees. But you know what? If you're in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm sorry you're there if you're there, it's 40 degrees and it's overcast. But you know what? If you're in Wichita, Kansas, then say hello to my good buddy Sean LaFave. It's 37 degrees and it's mostly cloudy there. Hey, Sean, buddy, how was your weekend?
My weekend was awesome. It was actually fairly productive.
Oh, Sally must be home.
No, she's in New York.
Oh.
And, yeah, that's why it was productive.
Whoa. You know what? If she's listening, that could be a real bad mistake you just made.
No, I'm good. So I was productive, but I got to tell you, it's kind of your fault because you sent me. You sent me an article, and we are not going to talk about this today. I got something we are going. Because we're going to talk about garbage today.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So we're talking about garbage today, but what we're not going to talk about is polio, because you sent me that article about the cases of polio symptoms, and that got me digging deep. And I just kept digging and researching, and I'm telling you. So I
smell a Thursday subject coming up.
Oh yeah, Thursday we are packed already. I've already got it all booked. Flights are booked. Bags are packed. We're going to Polio Town on Thursday.
Oh.
It's going to be interesting. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's you know what, as much as I obviously being in the healthcare world, polio is not one of those things that I really deal with because nobody gets polio anymore. But I do talk about obviously the vaccines when it comes to polio and other things, and so. I just never done a lot of research on it. And so you got me researching, and even I am kind of astounded by some of the numbers, even as skeptical of a person as I am on certain things. I got into the numbers and I went, wow, this is an amazing topic that we're going to talk about. And I actually want to put together like a whole paper. I'm going to put together all kinds of stuff about this because it's something that I think that the vast majority of people, if they saw it and they understood it and they chose to actually believe the truth, they'll be pretty shocked by the misconceptions behind polio. So we're going to talk about polio on Thursday, but today,
all right, sounds good.
And it's your fault.
I don't. Hey, listen, if that's my fault, I'll take instead of fault, I'll take credit for it.
That's right. You get full credit for this one. So I'm looking forward to it. But
just so that everybody knows, I'm the one that sent you the garbage information too.
You did send me. So both topics today and Thursday are thanks to the research and digging of Robert Cardoza. So you definitely get credit for both of these. But Thursday is going to be an interesting topic too.
Yeah.
Today, I really, this is one that I kind of hold near and dear as well, and I think it's just an awesome topic, and it really, it brings to light what we're doing to ourselves.
Before I turn you loose, and I think you'll agree with me. I think every citizen of this world should be concerned about the environment and the things that we're doing to really destroy it, and that's really what you're going to be talking about today.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And everyone should be concerned about this. This isn't, this is where your convenience is going to put the rest of us. When I say people in general, but our conveniences of life are really destroying our planets, destroying our health, destroying everything in our environment, everything from animals all the way down to plankton and plants and you name it, and the beauty of the planet as well. And it is scary. And it was watching this video this is stuff that I kind of read up on and research from time to time, and just watching that video, I just thought, wow, this is such horror, just to see this, to watch the video, and so we'll kind of get into this, and so people are going, what is he talking about? So in the Pacific Ocean, they actually have what they call Trash Island, and it's actually it's not really an island, but it's just this mass of trash floating out that gets stuck in the currents, and it's mostly plastics, and it's something like twice the size of Texas or something like that. It's huge, and it's just you can't really see it because most of the particles are so small. But one of the areas in the Pacific that's been hit hardest by this is Midway Island. And probably two reasons why Midway Island is hit so hard is, one, it's right in the middle of this current, so stuff gets kind of pulled right to it. But the other reason is Midway Island has been uninhabited for decades now, and so there hasn't been anybody around to really clean up the mess that's being deposited on the beaches there. So now what we've got is all these plastics, all this trash is floating through the ocean, and it's ending up on a lot of islands, but Midway Island specifically is one of them, and you can see what it's doing to the wildlife there, what it's doing to the beauty of the island. Midway, for those, I'm assuming most of the listeners that we have here are makeup of listeners here, probably most of them know what Midway Island was, but it was used back in World War II. It was a strategic island that we were able to get a hold of and put an air base on there, and we used it for bombing runs out to attack Japan during World War II, and really Midway Island was a key stronghold for success during World War II. It was one of those ones that we actually fought Japan over, and we won, clearly, and so we used it for quite some time, but it hasn't been used for decades now. And so now Barack Obama actually declared the huge area in the Pacific Ocean as a wildlife refuge, and part of that encompasses Midway Island. And so it is now a protected land, so no one is going to be living there, let alone no one has lived.
So let me interrupt you for a second. So if Obama has declared this, has he actually offered any help in cleaning it up, or is he just saying this is a disaster area?
Yeah, right now that's pretty much what it boils down to. Is he's declared it as a disaster area, and in fact, in the video they showed these piles and piles of plastics and other trash that are sitting there waiting to be taken away. They're just stacked up on what used to be the runway, and they're waiting for ships to come in so they can load them up on ships and take the plastic away. But but in reality, Sean, I would think we just got done saying that the trash accumulation there is equivalent to twice the size of Texas. How on earth do you actually accomplish that? How do you accomplish having that much trash in the ocean?
No, how do you accomplish getting rid of it? Where do you put it?
Well, how do you accomplish getting rid of it? I remember reading about this, I don't know, it was probably a couple of years ago. There was actually a young guy, and, of course, he's idealistic and probably thinks this is easy, but he developed a design for, a huge ocean liner ship that would actually go in and literally scoop up all the plastic. But I think it would probably take, fleets of these things in order to do that. I don't know that it's become so massive. I don't know that there's a solution that would make sense, because even if we did, let's say we had ships that could be out there and scoop up all the plastic, well, the ships are going to be burning fuel, so they're going to be creating another form of pollution. And probably really the only solution right now is to let this stuff continue to break down and pray that it doesn't destroy us.
Could we drop a couple of hydrogen bombs and just absolutely obliterate the whole thing?
Well, yeah, I'm sure we could, but I can't imagine what that would do to the wildlife in the area as well. I don't know that that would probably be a viable solution. I'm sure there's a way to get rid of it.
But if you think about it, if you just think about this for just a second, the wildlife, this has become such a microscopic thing that the plankton, the smallest wildlife that's there eats this stuff, and then the bigger fish eat that, and the bigger fish eat that, and then we wind up eating those bigger fish, and it just translates right over to our own diets in a detrimental way. I'm not so sure that obliterating that island and all of that trash isn't the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the science behind what would happen if you dropped a bomb like that in that area. I no clue. Would that help? Would it create more problems? It's plastic. I don't know what's going to happen to it.
Well, wouldn't we just incinerate it that way? Wouldn't we just absolutely? I mean, the heat
Yeah, but it's not like it just poof magically disappears. I mean, you've got, it's going to break it down into smaller molecule chemical components. And what would those byproducts be that are left over? I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Doesn't solve the problem, just exacerbates it.
Yeah, exactly. It could just mean that now we're making even more particles, but they're just tinier now. And maybe that would be a good thing. I don't know. But you're right. It's what they call the law of biological concentration. The plankton binds to these microplastics and other toxins. And then, like you say, the tiny fish eat the plankton, the medium fish, it keeps going on and up. And it's the law of biological concentration is the larger your fish. That's why people say, to not eat too much tuna on a regular basis.
Sooner or later, your mahi-mahis in your tummy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so now we're getting these plastic, and when they become, nano-sized nanoparticles, meaning a billionth of a meter, they can actually cross into through the membranes into the cell, and so now they're stuck in the cell of the fish, and of course, like you said, now we're eating this stuff, and it's going to eventually cross into our cell, and into our brain, and these plastics are known endocrine disruptors.
So but Sean, wouldn't you say, though, because of the expanse of what you've been describing, that we're probably already eating these things?
Oh, absolutely we are. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. There's a lot of things. Plastics are everywhere. Even stuff like the Teflon coating that they use for nonstick pans. Mm-hmm. That's been found. That is in every region of the world. It's been found in the most remote islands of the world. Fire retardants is another one. In fact, they even mentioned fire retardants in this video. That the plastics, when they get down so small, they bind to things like pesticides and flame retardants. But these flame retardants have been found in the tissues of polar bears up in the North Pole, and so we've created not just plastics, but this goes beyond just plastic. We're just talking about one chemical component that we've made plastic, and one island and one patch of trash in the Pacific Ocean. That's one part of the problem. It goes way beyond that. But we've created this system where now we've polluted every square foot of this planet. Even places that don't ever see stuff like this. They don't see plastics. Well, there's plastic pieces there. There's like I said, fire retardants and on and on and on and all this stuff.
And that's because of the global currents, right?
That's because of global currents, yeah. And even stuff like, let's say a fish gets plastic in it and it swims up somewhere else, and a bear eats it, or a seal eats it, and then the bear eats the seal, or whatever the case might be. It gets trapped. But yeah, the currents bring it. Even what's going on with Fukushima. You talk about plastics. Now we've got radioactive material, cesium, in the kelp beds right off of Southern California that the currents brought all the way over to us, courtesy of the Fukushima meltdown. And so, we've got this problem. It's funny. I was talking to someone not too long ago. And of course, I like science fiction type movies like Star Trek and Star Wars, and we were talking about that. And someone said, "Well, what do you think the future looks more like? Does it look more like Star Wars, or would it look more like Star Trek?" And I said, "It's probably going to look a lot more like Mad Max the way we're going." And really, I believe that what we're doing right now by these little conveniences. Oh, I've got a frying pan that my stuff doesn't stick to. It's extremely toxic. It's so poisonous. It's horrible to use, but it's super convenient. I don't have to use butter, which is good for you. Or, I've got a plastic water bottle. I've tried my best to really stay away from drinking out of plastic. I've got a stainless steel. And there's even those who go, "You shouldn't drink out of stainless steel." I'm like, you know what? Give me this one. Yeah. I'm not going to, I'll detox myself for stainless steel. I'm not worried about my one stainless steel bottle causing a problem in my life. But I try to stay away from plastics. Because just the plastics alone, there's different forms of plastic. There's actually, if you look at the bottom of a plastic container, there's that little recycling triangle on the bottom, and it's got a number in the middle, and it's anywhere from 1 through 7. And the different number means something different. Like number 7 is the one you'll see on the Nalgene bottles, and number 7 used to have bisphenol A, which bisphenol A is a synthetic estrogen that was created back in the early 1900s. It was designed to hopefully help women with estrogen deficiencies, but it turned out to be a very toxic estrogen, and it was making women sick and creating all kinds of problems. So they stopped using it, but then they discovered that it made really good plastic. So it's been in our plastic. Well, you've got your plastic, especially people who take plastic and they stick it in the microwave and heat their food up. Man, you're just ripping all those chemicals out of that plastic, and it's going straight into your food. And so they're getting this bisphenol A, and they're eating this synthetic estrogen.
Okay, I need to stop you for a second. So what you're saying, if I went down to the local grocery store and I bought a package of let's just say croissants or scones or whatever I'm going to do, and they're in this plastic container, and if I throw that into the microwave to heat them up, I'm doing myself damage. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yeah. That's 100% what I'm saying.
Can you go back and describe what I'm actually doing when I do that?
Oh, think about, would you take plastic and if you're stuff's wrapped in plastic, would you stick it in the oven like that, or would you stick it in a frying pan? Of course you wouldn't, because you know that the heat is going to melt it and break it down, and it's going to get into your food. The microwave doesn't heat it up the same way, so you really don't see what we're doing, but you are literally causing a decomposition of that plastic container, whether it's a plastic bag that it's inside of, or those are popular too. People love these little shake and bake. I don't know which one that comes with a plastic bag, and you stick the whole chicken in there, and it seals in the moisture, and on and on. Same thing, But if you've got a plastic container, whether it's your Rubbermaid or whatever case you're using, you are literally causing a degradation in the structure of that plastic, and now you're breaking down all the little components. Whether it's the bisphenol A that's in there, there's another component.
So when they get so you're talking about these poultry bags that they sell for roasting chickens and birds and turkeys and all these different plastic things that they actually sell them to you for that purpose are actually harmful to you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's I refuse to believe that these companies don't know that, but I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're ignorant to the fact that they're causing all this damage. But I would be shocked if they haven't done their research and they just like, what, we don't really care, or we don't think it's big enough of a problem. And maybe it's not big enough of a problem. But I'm of the belief that why do damage to yourself, even if it's just a little bit? Say I can deal with it. Because there's plenty of other things. I have to deal with the pollution from cars. I have to deal with pesticides. I have to deal with heavy metals. I have to deal with, all kinds of, cleaners, chlorine in the water. Every little bit is.
We might as well not add to the things we are already capable of dealing with, right?
Right, yeah, and phthalates, even though bisphenol A is not in all plastics, pretty much all plastic has phthalates in them, and phthalates are huge. They affect hormone balances. They a huge effect on men for low sperm count, your less mobile sperm, reproductive defects in boys in the male reproductive system. Obesity, cancer, stillbirths. Thyroid problems. You name it. It goes on and on. Phthalates are horrible, and they're in plastics. And every time you use plastic, especially like you get that water bottle, you set it in your car and it gets hot. Mm-hmm. You've probably done that, and I've done it before. You take a drink and you're like, oh, you can taste the plastic. If you can taste it,
yes,
you're drinking it. So even if it gets hot, let alone the fact that you stick it in the microwave where you're now cooking something that's boiling. And so it's one of those things that I've gotten farther and farther away. Am I perfect? If I'm over somewhere and they've got, I'll take a plastic water bottle and drink out of it. But when I'm at home, I don't buy plastic water bottles to stick in the refrigerator. I don't use them at work. When I'm in my car, I keep my stainless steel water bottle with me, and so I never ever. Well, first of all, I hardly ever use a microwave. I use a microwave probably once every other month at the most. But if I see somebody cooking something in plastic in the microwave, I refuse to eat it. I'll be like, I don't want that. Thank you. If you put it in a ceramic bowl and heat it up, I'll at least deal with it.
Sean, let me ask you this, because you're talking about using your stainless steel container for your water. Do you use tap water or filtered water or processed water? What kind of water do you put in there?
Yeah, I use filtered water. It's obviously in most places the best water you can get is well water.
Mm-hmm.
Natural spring water. With well water, you got to be careful in certain areas. There's pesticides that leach into it, and the runoff from springtime where the cows have been pooping, and so that's all, that gets into the well. So there are some places where wells can be contaminated, but the best thing is spring water, well water. But as far as water from the home, I filter it.
No, I use Brita. I don't know what you think about that, and I would invite you to make a comment about it. The only water I drink is Brita filtered water, and I drink about a gallon of it a day.
Yeah, that's what I use at home. Is I use a Brita water filter, and it's not perfect. It's not going to take out everything, but again, like I said, you remove as much as you can.
Yeah.
For when I did have a home, an actual house that I owned,
mm-hmm.
I put in a whole house filtration system, and not only did it have the water softener built in that kind of generally filtered the water, took all the chlorine out,
mm-hmm.
but then on top of that was a 3-phase water filtration system specifically for the drinking water. And so I would want to filter my drinking water. If I had my choice, I would rather have a whole house filtration system, but I live in an apartment right now, so that's mm-hmm. not an option for me.
It's interesting you were talking about having a soft water filtration system, and I remember growing up, my parents built a brand new home and they put a soft water system in there. And I remember the very first shower I took, the difference between taking a shower in hard water and a shower in soft water. I could not get the soap off to save my soul.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels slick, like there's just soap all over your body. The water is so soft. It's just the strangest feeling when you first take a shower in soft water. And you know what? Actually, that's actually more important. I won't say more important. It's at least as important. It could actually be more important than actually filtering your drinking water is filtering your shower.
Oh, you know what? We got to take a break, but I'd like you to address that when we come back. Can we do that?
We'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to talk about the fact that it's actually more important for you to clean yourself with soft water as opposed to hard water or filter water. So we're going to talk more about that with Sean after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9700. 909-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time, still 58 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, the high today was 63. The low is going down to 45 degrees. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 37 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, 43 degrees and it's clear. But it's also 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Hey, guys. You can listen to a recording of our show. Just get our app. You can listen to us 24/7. You know, you can get a good night's sleep. Think about it. Just think about it. But right now, we're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Sean's going to tell you how it may be more important the water you bathe in than the water you drink. Sean, you got the microphone.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people do. They think about their drinking water. They use the Brita or whatever pure or whatever filtration system. I mean, they've got a really nice in-house and well, actually not in-house, but just water filtration. Where they got the little filter that goes in their refrigerator. And most people think that that's great. That's good enough. That's all they need. Well, when you shower, you got warm water. There's usually some steam in there. You're breathing in that moist air. That moist air is carrying every single chemical compound in the water that comes to your house. And I'm not talking, just chlorine. And of course, there's fluoride in a lot of cities as well. But you're talking all kinds of different, matter of fact, every major municipality in the country was tested, and they found all kinds of prescription medications in the water, everything from painkillers to anti-anxiety and antidepressant meds to blood pressure meds to you name it. And so we've got just a slew of chemicals in our drinking water that not only are we drinking if we don't filter it, but if you're taking a shower, you're actually breathing all that stuff in. And plus then it's also our skin is the biggest organ, first of all, in the entire body, but it's designed to bring stuff in and get stuff out of the body, so you can absorb all those chemicals in through your skin as well. So you're getting it on your skin, and then you're breathing it in from all the steam from taking a shower. So yeah, actually, filtering your shower water is at least as important as filtering your drinking water. Unless you don't shower, then I guess it's no big deal. You're good.
Sooner or later, if you're not showering or if you're not bathing, somebody's going to know, right?
I would assume so. Yeah, eventually somebody's going to figure this out. But, and then it doesn't matter what you're doing to your drinking water. No one's going to do
something smells rotten in Denmark.
Yeah. So yeah, it's when you stop and you look at, of course, what spurred all this is that video, about Midway Island and this, the big garbage patch out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and on is really we create so much waste. The last several places that I've lived all have, one trash can for trash and another one for recycling. And I really do my best to, I try not to throw plastic or glass or, whatever into the trash can. I like to put it in the recycling bin. And it's really not because, most recycling is actually not even cost effective. The only recycling that I know of that actually is cost effective is plastic recycling. But even newspapers and glass and all that, I guess the high cost involved in recycling it really doesn't even make it a cost effective thing. But it's nice to know that maybe we're doing it to benefit ourselves long run and our children and our grandchildren, because that's really what this is all about.
Which is justifiable enough, right? As an investment, you're investing in the serenity of your own environment.
In fact, speaking of glass, you probably are familiar with Glass Beach. I want to say there's one down in Southern California too, but I think the most popular one is up north of San Francisco, and it's this beach where you can go and there's all these beautiful pieces of glass, and they've been rubbed smooth, so they're almost like little pebbles, and it's all these different types of glass: clear glass, blue glass, and red glass. But it's trash for whatever reason. Glass has just made its way to this beach so much that they actually call it Glass Beach. And you can walk around in the sand and you can pick up these little tiny pieces of glass that are smooth like a river stone because the ocean has really ground them down. And that's just trash. People go there and they think it's beautiful to go collect all these pieces of glass, but the harsh reality of it is you're picking up someone's trash from a Coke bottle that they drank and then threw into the ocean. Or maybe they threw it in the trash and somehow their trash ended up in the ocean. And of course, a lot of that comes from the United States, but from what I understand, China is the biggest culprit. But, you've got pretty much anybody who's got an ocean, on their border is going to be responsible. India, doesn't matter what country, we're all guilty. So it's, we have created so much garbage in this world, from the things like I talked about, the nonstick stuff, the cleaning agents that we use. As a matter of fact, they say that if you look at the EPA estimates, that because of the cleaning supplies that most people use, and we've designed our homes to be airtight. They're super. We want to know what's my E rating on my energy rating on my house. Like I have a really good E rating. It means I don't have to run my air conditioner in the summertime or my heater as much in the wintertime, which is great. It saves you money on your utility bill. But what it does is it locks your house up to where your house can't breathe anymore. And that creates problems, everything from mold all the way up to chemicals. And what the EPA is saying that because our houses are so airtight, that the chemicals that we use, everything from the bleach that we clean with to, in fact, the worst one of all of them is actually dishwasher detergent because of what I talked about earlier. It creates this vapor because of all the hot water that goes into your dishwasher. But, everything from shampoos to, you clean the toilet, whatever the case might be, the air in our homes is up to 5 times more toxic than the air outside of our homes. Because we're built so airtight that really the best thing you can do for your home is to open some doors and some windows and let it air out from time to time. Everything. Even they say like even if you take your clothes to the dry cleaner, if you're not using one of these green dry cleaners, they say take your clothes, hang them up, take the plastic off of them, hang them up in the garage or something like that for a day, and let them off gas. So
hey, Sean, are you at home? Are you at home now?
Yes.
You want to just open up the windows and open up the doors. It's only 36 degrees out there.
You know what? It was open earlier today when it wasn't 35 degrees outside. But yeah, I know. And there's actually, they make for places that are like here where it gets cold, they actually make exchangers, they call them, where when your air conditioner or your heater is running, it actually pulls in a little bit of air from outside and pushes a little bit of air out while your system is running, just enough to bring fresh air into the home. They actually make these heat exchangers, or I can't remember if they're called heat exchangers or what, but they're called some sort of an exchanger that basically brings in just a little bit of fresh air whenever your system is running. Because, for the reason that you were just joking about here is that it's expensive to open your windows and try to run your heater or your air conditioner at the same time. Yeah. So yeah, it is. It's right. Yeah, right now I'm not going to because I'm really warm. I'm comfortable. I'm very comfortable. I don't want to run the heater too much more. But yeah, so even what we're doing just inside of our own home, and this goes back to, we've had this discussion before about, you don't have to think globally. You don't have to think Midway Island or Trash Island in the middle of the Pacific or ozone. You just have to think locally, what am I doing to myself right now, even in my own home, or what am I doing to my own body? Because if you look at the research on the plastics, it's funny because the more damaging a plastic is to the human body, it coincidentally also happens to be more damaging to the environment as a whole.
Sure.
So, as they say, we came from the earth, so we're really not that far removed. So the things that are bad for us are going to be bad for the environment as well. And so to take out those little things from your life, one piece at a time. You don't have to all of a sudden go in and dump all your detergents away and go. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, Woody Harrelson. I think I was watching. He was talking about what we've done, and he said we have dozens of different kinds of soaps and cleaning and detergents and on. When one biodegradable soap would work for pretty much everything we need, including washing our hair and doing the dishes. It might not leave our hair as soft and supple as Perk or whatever, BO5 or Suave or whatever it is the commercials are going to tell us it does. But the fact is we're going to be clean. But, we because of convenience and because of, our desire to be beautiful, women put on, I think the average woman puts on over 500 different chemicals on her body when you look at everything that's in shampoo to facial creams to foundation and lipstick. I mean, lipstick even has things like lead in it to make it red. Red lipstick has lead in it. A lot of the foundation that women use has mercury in it. And this one here I don't think is bad, but I think it's funny because it grosses a lot of people out. A lot of eyeliner that women use, not eyeliner, but mascara. I'm sorry, the mascara. Because the mascara, the problem with women with mascara is they can't get it to stick to their eyes, and one of the products that they use is actually bat guana, which is bat poop, and they go into these caves that are like the bottom of them are literally just filled with bat poop, and they go in and they harvest it and they use that for mascara because it's nice and sticky and it's natural and it's free for the people who all they got to do is pay for the labor to harvest it. But we women especially, but we in general, as humans in general, we just put a lot of chemicals on our body, in our air, in our homes, in the ocean, on the land, and eventually it is going to catch up to us. Midway Island is just one small example of what we're doing to this planet. And I've said it time and time again, we're not going to destroy this planet. What we're going to do is we're going to just make this planet so unlivable that we're going to either kill ourselves off or we're going to end up in a situation that's something like Mad Max.
Well, the sad thing, Sean, is it's not just happening to Midway Island. It's not just happening to the garbage that accumulates because of the currents in the ocean and the Pacific. If we're causing that kind of problem out there, can you imagine what we're doing right here on land?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was kind of what I was saying. It's not just Midway. It's everywhere, and like they cut open those birds, on that video, and that bird was filled with plastic bottle caps and all kinds of plastics. I mean, I was shocked at the amount of plastic that was inside of that bird. Yeah. When they cut it open, this bird that had just died, and it's scary. But on a micro level, that's exactly what we're doing to ourselves. When I talk to people, my favorite thing to do is detox. And, when I talk to people about it, I go right down to the cell level. And it's those things that they even talked about in that video. When these plastics get down to the size where they're a nanoparticle, they can cross into the cell. And I say that time and time again, the only real detox that's going to make a huge difference long run in your life is a cellular. You got to detox at the cell level. And that's what we're doing. We've got stuff in our brains, we've got stuff in our cells and in our nerve tissue and on and on.
Everywhere where it does us no good, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, everywhere where it does us harm.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and it's not just plastics. It's like I said, it's the fire retardants in your couch, that you're sitting on and you're breathing in, or the finish that they put on that new, armoire that you just bought, or the cabinets in your kitchen, or the kitchen table, or whatever. All this stuff, you walk into a brand new home, you can smell the carpet. You're like, oh, it's got that new home smell.
Oh yeah.
If you can smell the carpet, you're breathing parts of it in.
Yeah.
And the fact is, all this stuff is off-gassing on a continuous basis. And if you're living in a house with brand new furniture and brand new carpets, you're breathing in chemicals all day long, and it's bound to have its toll. A lot of these things are massive endocrine disruptors, and you talk about women right now, especially men also, but women are really hard hit by this because of the hormone imbalances that it causes, thyroid problems and on, and all that is from these chemicals that we're putting into our body, and the ocean is showing us what we're doing to our body. It is showing us in a bigger scale, saying, look, you see what I look like? Look at Midway Island. Look at the Pacific Ocean. The Earth is showing us, look, this is what your body looks like on the inside. And unless you fix it, we're going to have a big problem, and we are going to have a big problem. Everything. So
let me just expand on this for a minute. I don't know that what I'm going to say is accurate at all, but I'm just thinking about it. You're talking about that fish that showed on the video, and for those of our listeners that haven't seen this, it's a pretty distressing thing to look at. And you look at all the plastic and stuff, and if we as consumers are consuming these fish, and we're not. I mean, they're getting cleaned, obviously, but there's parts of it that is in the flesh of the fish and the parts that we're eating. How much of that crud is accumulating in our own digestive systems, in our own stomachs, that we don't seem to be able to purge ourselves of?
Yeah, that's a lot of it, and that's exactly what I was when I was talking earlier in the first segment about the law of biological concentration. Mm-hmm. The animal at the top of the food chain is the one that's getting the most toxins, because the plankton get a little bit, the smaller fish get a little bit more, the medium fish get a little bit more, and it goes on up to the big fish, and we eat the big fish, and we eat everything else. We eat anything that comes out of the ocean. And the fact is, they're loaded with toxins, so now we're going to, and it's not just the stuff that comes out of the ocean, it's what we're doing to the cattle that we eat and the chicken that we eat, and on and on. It's the law of biological concentration affects everything, and human beings are pretty much right at the top of the food chain.
The sad thing, the sad thing here, Sean, is we're talking about all these minute, microscopic plastic or petroleum type product things that are infiltrating itself right into our own digestive system and our own stomachs and things like that, and yet that's just the tip of the iceberg. You and I have talked many, many times about the GMOs from Monsanto and all the chemicals and things that are going on. We're not only eating these other things, we're eating all this scientific garbage stuff that's been put into our food. At some point, we're just kind of getting rid of ourselves, aren't we?
We are. That's exactly what I said. We're not gonna, we're not gonna destroy the planet. The planet will be here long after we're gone. But we are slowly killing ourselves, and I say slowly, but we're picking up the pace over the last 50 years for sure. We've created stuff that didn't exist, when our grandparents were around.
Yeah.
I mean, those. What are those? PFOAs, which are found in, I think they're actually part of the Teflon stuff, perfluoridated something or another. I can't remember what they stand for, but these things, they say, are 100% resistant to biodegradation. They don't break down in the environment at all, ever. We're creating stuff that can't even be broken down, and it's, so imagine if once it gets in our body, that's our body can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
And so what are we doing to ourselves? We've created all sorts of chemicals that serve really wonderful purposes, but the purpose that it serves is not benefit enough for us to keep it around. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Everyone's
so here's the thing. We've got 1 minute before we have to take another break. In that minute, kind of. I mean, we're not. You're coming back again, but in that minute, can you tell us what the average general person on this planet could actually do to start fixing this problem?
Yeah, what the average person can do is really simple. Is stop looking for more convenience in your life and start looking about how you can go back to living a little bit more of a natural, and I say the word organic nowadays you got to go buy organic vegetables, but a more organic life. Instead of using plastic, use a glass for water. Instead of buying your food that comes in a box that's got a plastic bag inside of it, make your own food. And instead of cooking on nonstick cookware, use cast iron. Cast iron is perfectly fine. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's actually naturally nonstick. It's the best cookware I've ever used, ever. And I love it. It's my favorite. And so really to boil that all down into one statement is, think about everything that you use in your life. Is it getting you closer to the way things occur in nature, or is it getting you farther away from how things...
So what you're saying is that, and the reason I'm interrupting you is because we've already gone over that minute, and that is that if we're looking to buy convenience, then it's going to cost us something, and in this case, right, it's really costing us a healthy lifestyle. Now, we're going to be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's 57 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's not so sunny. It's actually a little overcast, or not overcast, cloudy right now outside. So it's way down to 45 degrees. But if you know what, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, it's 48 degrees and it's overcast. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 28 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what? No clouds over the head of my good buddy Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you got the microphone, buddy.
All right. I'm not sure when he left, but we were just kind of wrapping up about really what to do. And just to boil it down, like I said, make it simple is there's a book out there that I read one time that was called God's Diet or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the very first chapter, the title was, if God didn't make it, don't eat it. And then the first line of that chapter was, if you understand the title of this first chapter, you don't need to read the rest of the book. And I went, okay, and I closed it. No, I actually continued reading, but that's kind of the point, is everything that we do, whether it's the what we drink, what we eat, the furniture that we use, the finishes on our furniture, the cars we drive, on and on and on, the farther we get away from how we would have been living. Let's just go back a couple hundred years. I don't want to go back 100 because we were in an industrial revolution. Mm-hmm. But if we can go back at least a couple hundred years, the farther we get away from that, from, where we used to walk to now, it kills me. And you'll be at like a strip mall. Someone will get in the car, drive 3 stores over, park, and then go inside. And you're going, why did you just drive your car 200 feet? You could walk that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, think about every action that you do. Is that moving you closer towards how we would exist in nature, or is it moving you farther away from that? And if you're getting farther away from it, I guarantee you, you're also going to be getting sicker. And we're going to be getting sicker as a nation, as a culture, as a world, the farther we collectively move away from how things are in the nature. I'm not saying we all need to go join a commune and
No, but you know what? No, but what you are saying is really valid. One of the points you just made is you drive your car 200 yards or 200 feet or whatever it might be to go to the store, when all you have to really do is walk. And the truth is, you're a lot better off if you take that walk. It's healthier for you. You got to get some exercise. You know what? And it doesn't take that much longer. By the time you get in your car, back it up, close your garage door, get over to where you're going, find a parking place, park in there. You might as well have walked.
I remember, this was several years ago, I used to ride my bicycle to work a lot, and I don't know why I stopped. Actually, I stopped doing it because I wasn't working out of my home. But I used to ride my bicycle to work on a regular basis. And I remember I had an hour for lunch at this place that I worked at. This was, 17, 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. And on a lunch break, I had a 1-hour lunch break. I left, and in fact, I even asked a couple of my coworkers, hey, I'm going to go grab some lunch. Do you want anything? And they said, I said, I'm going to Tanya's Soup Kitchen. And they said, oh my gosh, yeah, give me this, give me that. Okay, great. And I had bags on my bicycle. I rode to the bank, and then I went to the post office because I had to mail something off. And then I went to Tanya's Soup Kitchen. I picked up meals for myself and 2 other people, soup and sandwiches, and put them in the little bags on my bicycle and rode my bicycle back to work. And this was not we're not talking a few blocks away. We're talking like several miles that I did this little journey took me. And I was able to sit down, eat my lunch, and get back to work within an hour's time. And all of this on a bicycle. And, if I had done this in a car, it probably would have saved me 10 to 15 minutes tops.
Yeah.
But I wasn't polluting the environment. I was giving myself exercise. I was better off. The environment was better off because of that choice that I made. And I got to, you see the world differently. I've traveled a lot of miles on a bicycle, and my son and I have even done, bicycle tours together. We went through the Southwest before on a bicycle. We've ridden, about half of the coast of California on a bicycle together. And when you're on a bicycle, you see the world in a very different way than you do when you're in a car. It's amazing. You'll drive past the same thing for years, and then all of a sudden you'll ride a bike and you'll go, gosh, I didn't know that was there. And it's been there the whole time. And so we see the world in a very different way when we walk. I'm sure you walk a lot, so I'm sure you see things when you're walking that you would never notice.
Oh, yeah.
If you were in your car.
You know what? Yeah. The landmarks and the things that you're right. When you're in your car, you're paying attention to the traffic and the stuff in front of you. And when you're walking, you're really observing.
Yeah. And people they treat you differently. You know, it's something about, you know, when my son and I have done.
Sean, I know I'm interrupting you, but when you said that people treat you differently, I've got to tell you, I go for a 6-mile walk every day. Matter of fact, now half of it I'm jogging and the other half I'm walking.
I know.
But I run into pretty much the same people almost every day, depending on what time of day I go out, because I don't always go out at the same time of day. And you get to know each other, and you wave to each other. You say good morning, good afternoon, go to hell, whatever you're going to do. And you're smiling, and you seem like you got something in common. It's not that sterility of getting behind the wheel of a car and not acknowledging anything.
Man, I tell you what, that's a perfect word, sterility. I usually use the word anonymity, but the same thing. You know, we believe we're in this sterile environment, that we're completely anonymous. We're in a car. Someone does something, we can honk at them, flip them off, whatever, and get totally angry. But when you're on a bicycle or you're walking or something, for some reason, you are connected. Like you say, you walk right past a person, you look that person in the eye, and you say, "Hi, how are you doing today?"
And you smile.
Have a conversation.
And you smiled at each other.
Yeah, and it's, you know, one of the things that's you know, I've been saying for a long time again is that we have lost in this country our sense of community, you know, our sense of culture, where we go to our homes and you know, matter of fact, I met a guy Sunday. I went to a church. I was like, you know, I just want to go to church today. Mm-hmm. And I went to go to a small church, and I wanted to go to one that was close by. And the guy that's the pastor of this church is like a mile away. He lives in the same neighborhood that I'm in right now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was like, I would have never met this guy had I not gone to his church. But you know, when you get out and you walk and you say hi to your neighbors, we all kind of get a little closer. You know, the world gets a little bit smaller. At least you're a part of the world, and it's nice. It's nice to be able to see people and recognize them. And you know, it's like that whole thing, like, you know, like that old TV show Cheers. You know, you just want to go where everybody knows your name. Yeah. And you know, that should be our neighborhoods at least. That's right. You know. But yeah, exactly like you said. That's perfect. You know, we get out and we live life a little bit more organically. And you know, I know that word. A lot of people think, you know, tree hugging, granola munch, and you know, hip or whatever. But the fact is, you live an organic life when you get out and you do things that we're intended to do. We are intended to walk. You know, if God wanted us to have cars, we would have been born with them. You know, and
well, you know, here's the thing. People have got to do something that invigorates them, that keeps them healthy. There's nothing wrong with a walk and acknowledging your friends and your neighbors, and even meeting. How do you meet new friends if you're in a car? For God's sakes, you don't. You know,
unless you get in an accident.
If you go, you know what? If you're lucky enough to ever travel to Europe, and I'm thinking about just anywhere in Europe, they have streets that are blocked off. You can't take a vehicle. You can only walk. And during the weekends, families, they go into these pedestrian walkways, and they're just walking up and down for miles, up and down these commercial areas, and greeting their friends, their neighbors. Everybody knows everybody. They're having a great time. But we don't seem to do that here in the United States.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. 20 seconds before you started talking about that was the exact thought that came to mind that I was going to bring up. That's exactly how it is in Europe. You know, and they've got the little areas outside, and the men are sitting around talking, the women are sitting around talking, the kids are running up and down, kicking soccer balls, doing whatever, and everyone's happy. And like you said, everyone's connected, everyone knows each other, and there's this little community, and everyone gets along, and it's you know, it's people aren't disconnected. You know, they are connected, and we need human connection. There's nothing more soothing than human touch, you know, of a caring hand, obviously. You know, you know, they supposedly studies, you know, I haven't actually read the official studies, but you see the stuff when they talk about, you know, hugs can reduce, you know, your stress level and your depression, and cuddling can reduce stress and lower your blood pressure, and on and on. And just a touch, like, you know, I've done this before where people are stressing you, you just reach out, you put your hand on them. You know,
it has a calming effect.
Right, exactly. And that's something that we are naturally meant to do. We're naturally meant to be social creatures around other human beings. And unfortunately, all these little conveniences, going back to the original, point of this discussion, all these little conveniences that we've created for ourselves, everything from being in a car to ordering my stuff online instead of going to a store and actually talking to a clerk, it disconnects us just one little bit at a time. And it's sad. There's nothing worse than a person who is disconnected and has nobody to really touch and be with and talk with. Yeah, there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah, it's interesting as I walk around this little area that I walk around in. There are a few 3-4 Asian people that I'll see from time to time that I'm convinced don't speak any English. But when I'm coming around, they stop, they look up, they smile, and they wave. They acknowledge me, and we acknowledge each other. And you know what? It just makes you feel good. It not only makes you feel good, but it makes you feel safe. It makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, it almost restores a little bit of your faith in humanity. That there's some good people out there. And most people, 99% of the people out there are going to be that way. They're going to stop and they're going to stop, but they'll smile, they'll wave, it's especially in a more suburban setting, and it's nice. It's nice to feel that. It's nice to experience that. And, it's something that, again, when the closer we move back to the way we are designed to live with nature, I think the happier we are and the healthier we are, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, listen, we only got a couple minutes. Give us an idea of what your plan. I know what you're doing on Thursday, but what are your plans on, I know what the part that I'm interested in that you're doing on Thursday. Is Sally back in town, by the way?
She's on a plane right now back to Wichita.
So I am interested in other things besides the part that I know about. Anyway.
You're going to get me in trouble one of these days.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
You probably already have. I just probably ignored it. I'm going
to try, but it's something you got to expect. Anyway, so I'm guessing that, how long has Sally been gone?
Just 5 days.
Okay, so you must be making some major plans. You must be making some major, I'm glad you're home, Sally, plans for this weekend.
Nope, not so much. No,
that was a hint. That was a hint.
You're telling me I should?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
she got to go play in New York, and I'm home working. So no, there's no plans. She's going to be back at like 11:30 tonight. My plans are going to be that she can actually go to sleep when we get home. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even that sounds a little boring. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, I know. But
yeah, she's
played hard and I've worked hard.
Yeah. You're like that old rug laying down there. That's all you do, just laying out there and lying there. Yeah. To get the truth out of you is going to be. I'm going to have to grease you a little bit.
Probably.
All right. Thursday,
yes. Are we done? Thursday, we're going to talk about polio. I'm telling you, I'm going to go all the way back. I'm going to go back about 100 years of history on polio and the effects here and the vaccine and what it's done to our country and, like what polio has done, like how the effects of polio on our country and the effects that it has on people. And you're going to hear some numbers. Everything that I've done, I'm putting together a whole narrative.
Okay.
And unlike a lot of people who have an agenda, my narrative is based on the numbers. I'm not making the numbers fix my narrative. Matter of fact, my narrative would actually be very different if I had to make it up. I'm surprised. The numbers are even surprising me on how polio affects the human body, how much of it has affected our society, and on. And it is pretty interesting when you stop and look at the numbers. And so I'm excited to put this all together, and I'll have it done tomorrow for sure. But Thursday, we're going to have a fantastic discussion on polio.
Well, it sounds fantastic. As usual, this has been a phenomenal show today. You just add so much to it. You and I could just talk for hours and hours and hours. Unfortunately, we're 2 minutes past our time right now. But I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to Thursday. I'm looking forward to our conversation, our dialogue on polio, and I'll have lots of questions, I'm sure, just like I always do.
Oh, absolutely.
In the meantime, stay safe, stay happy. A hug to Sally from us, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
The same to you, Robert. Thanks. We'll talk to you Thursday.
All right, buddy. Now, the rest of you folks, stick around because we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Give you all of that right after this brief message.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 59 degrees. Went up a little bit here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 45 degrees, though, a little bit later. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 41 degrees and it's clear. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, listening to us, 45 degrees and mostly cloudy. And then finally, if you're in Sydney, Australia, 73 degrees with some scattered clouds. But you know what? Right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is beware the confirmation trap when analyzing data. You know, data analysis can help us sort through complexity and make decisions, but even with the best analytics tools, we're still vulnerable to human mistakes. For instance, we're likely to pay more attention to findings that align with our beliefs and to ignore other facts and patterns in the data. Now, this is called the confirmation trap. You can avoid it by trying to embrace information that counters your or your boss's beliefs by doing the following. First of all, specify in advance the data and analytical approaches on which you base your decision. This will reduce the temptation to cherry pick findings that agree with your prejudices. And actively look for findings that disprove your beliefs. Ask yourself, if my expectations are wrong, what pattern would I likely see in the data? Enlist a skeptic to help you. And then finally, treat your findings like predictions and test them. If you'd uncover a correlation from which you think that your organization can profit, use an experiment to validate that correlation. Yeah, makes sense. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. It's worth getting right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life, all about a positive mental attitude. I'm not going to give you a big, long dissertation about this, but you decide if you're going to be healthy or sick, if you're going to be wealthy or poor, if you're going to be a success or a failure. You decide all those things. You get up in the morning and look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a fantastic, profitable, productive day today, and I'm going to make everyone around me happy. You're the one that controls all that, nobody else. You know, the teaching for today is the only way that we can feel love is through our heart. And so the most powerful way to maximize our positive feelings is also through our heart. As we deliberately intensify our feelings through our heart, we are connecting ourselves to the supreme love, power, and wisdom that is the universe. The universe is continually making everything we want available to us, and our heart tunes us into the frequency of it all. Yeah, you control it. You just got to open that door. Well, you know what today is? Sure you do. I do. Everybody does. Today is going to be, let's see here. I'm sorry. Today is Tuesday, December the 6th, and it is somebody's birthday. And we've got some terrific birthdays for you today. So you know what? We're going to just get right to them. First off the bat here, a fellow born, he's born in 1967, a film producer, director, and screenwriter. He's well known for making a distinct series of critically and commercially successful comedy films, including The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, and Funny People. Happy birthday, Judd Apatow. And here's somebody born 1971, passed away in 1990, a teenager who brought attention to HIV and AIDS in the United States after being expelled from school because of his infection. A hemophiliac, he became infected from a contaminated blood treatment. Happy birthday to the late Ryan White. Well, you were wondering about what was going on in history on today's date? Well, don't wonder anymore. Just sit down, relax. I'm about to tell you. On December the 6th, 1884, the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. was finally completed. And in 1956, a water polo match between Hungary and the USSR takes place during the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne against the backdrop of the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Wow, a lot going on. And then finally, on December the 6th, 2006, NASA reveals photographs taken by Mars Global Surveyor suggesting the presence of liquid water on Mars. Wow. You know, isn't that something? Yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from Gertrude Stein. Gertrude says, "We are always the same age inside." Makes sense to me. How about you? Well, you know what? It's time for us to talk about those interesting but useless facts. And we got about a minute or so let me give you a few without wasting any time. When you take a step, you are using up to 200 muscles. Did you know that? Walking uses a great deal of muscle power, especially if you take your 10,000 steps. Wow. Can you imagine that? Now, 10,000 steps, about 5 miles, guys. Give that some thought. You're probably doing it. How about this? Did you know that Connecticut and Rhode Island never ratified the 18th Amendment prohibition? Shame on them. How about this? You know that St. Augustine, Florida, is the oldest city in the United States. I didn't know that. I'll be darned. I thought Plymouth, Massachusetts was. Tells you what I know. How about this? Did you know that paper was invented in the early 2nd century by a Chinese eunuch? So the fact that he's Chinese or the fact that he's eunuch, I'm not sure I understand the importance of that. Well, let me give you one last one here. Did you know that most lipsticks contain fish scales? Yep, that's a fact, folks. Now listen, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And today's story, search me. If you dare, I'll tell you all about it right after you come back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's going down. It is 56 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 45 degrees. It's going to be cold tonight. Yeah, that's for sure. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, well, it's 45 degrees and mostly cloudy. You know what? I think I already gave that to you. If you're in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 72 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, listening to our show, it's 57 degrees. And it is clear. Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know what? The American Broadcasting Company calls Paul Harvey the biggest voice in America. He is Paul Harvey, and each week, millions of listeners, viewers, and readers were awaiting his unraveling of the mysteries of events in the lives of people past and present. He was heard on over 1,400 radio stations and seen on 110 television stations. He was read in 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. Well, you know what? The story for today from Paul is Search Me. I dare you. Well, you know what? In the July 19th, 1948 edition of Time magazine, under the heading of National Affairs, under the subheading of Heroes, a Heroine, a young lady newly awarded the Medal of Freedom, a lady they called Joey. Joey was, in fact, Mrs. Josefina Guerrero from Manila, a society figure in her native country. During World War II, Joey was a spy, our side, and she was the best for all the secret maps and messages that she carried back and forth across enemy lines. She was never apprehended, never searched, not even once. How Joey was able to achieve her remarkable wartime record? That actually is the rest of the story. Josefina Guerrero was the toast of Manila. She was young, pretty, vivacious. Her husband was a wealthy medical student at Santo Tomas University. Everything was going her way. That was before the war. After the Japanese invaded the Philippines, Josefina joined her friends, the other young matrons of Manila, and together they worked to help the internees and the U.S. prisoners of war, bringing them food, clothing, medicine, and messages. When the Americans landed in Leyte, Josefina offered to become a spy. She also already gained valuable experience in the Manilan underground. She'd be the best spy the Americans ever had, she said, and we, smiling at her youthful enthusiasm, agreed. On her first mission, she mapped the waterfront fortifications of the Japanese and the locations of enemy anti-aircraft batteries. Armed with nothing more than a sketchbook and a pencil, she provided the restricted areas, recording all that she saw. From Josefina's drawings, American planes were able to pinpoint their targets. The success of this and of subsequent missions earned Josefina the respect of her allies, and it brought her an affectionate nickname, Joey. Now, Joey, it seemed, could do no wrong in the pursuit of espionage because her consciousness or conspicuous bravery, many near impossible tasks were accomplished in the line of duty. One mission took her through 56 miles of Japanese encampments and checkpoints and freshly sown minefields. With a top-secret map taped to her back, she trudged those 56 miles on foot. For 3 years, Joey continued her cloak and dagger career. Then one day the war was over, and with it ended Joey's job as a spy. A grateful U.S. War Department awarded her the Medal of Freedom with silver palm for having saved untold American lives. Visiting the United States, Joey was presented with the Catholic Medallion of Francis Cardinal Spellman for her valorous and heroic actions. But if there was one testimony to her ultimate success in espionage, it was that she lived to tell about it. Joey Josefina Guerrero was never caught. Stopped many times by suspicious Japanese, she was never apprehended, never even searched. For Joey had a secret weapon, an unconditional insurance policy to which any other spy would be unlikely to subscribe. An impenetrable barrier, if you will. Her unfailing deterrent to those who would detain her was an authentic disease called leprosy. Now you know the rest of that story. Well, folks, tomorrow's story, we're going to do Nice Try. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a great story. And then don't forget that on tomorrow's show, I'm going to be talking about how to protect your assets from creditors and lawsuits. I'll also answer your emails tomorrow. And our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, he's going to be here. He's going to be talking about new wireless technology that's in the news. And I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story, just like I said a moment ago. Please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And I promise you, I'll be glad you did too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.